Today's topic, I want to talk a little bit more about shelf queens versus sabers that you will actually use. I find myself in a position that I buy these awesome lightsabers, for example this Vader's Fold Mitsurugi 3K, and then I have a tendency, because the price is very important, because the high price, I'm like, I don't really feel like I want to play with it because I'm afraid I will scratch it or have some micro scratches on. I won't even duel with it, but I'm like, yeah, I love it so much that I just put it in a plastic protective case, and then I'll look at it and I never really play with it. And then I always feel like, oh, what a shame, I bought this really expensive lightsaber which is now just a display piece. And with my Vader's Fold Hero, for example, the Luke Skywalker lightsaber, I'm completely fine with that, because I feel like, yeah, that is more of a display piece than anything. But the fact that it's fully equipped with high-end soundboard, etc., I feel like, yeah, I'm wasting the potential of that lightsaber. Maybe I should just get it an empty and then have that displayed instead of having a fully equipped lightsaber and then just look at it. And the other hand is, I'm only living once and I'm living now, so should I just play with it and have it potentially scratched off, maybe a little bit dings, but enjoy it as it is, and then just enjoy it as a consumer product? Or should I keep it correctly good as a collectible, and maybe in 10-20 years that might have a certain value and then resell it? But then again, I only have looked at it for the past 20 years, plus the electronics inside by then are completely shed, because there's a battery in there that will probably go leak, etc. So it will be a little bit messy in 20 years. So I'm like, what should I do? And I always have that dilemma. So up till then, I always bought these kind of lightsabers from Saberford, relatively inexpensive, okay to beat up, because they're mass produced by Saberforge in China. So it's not like I'm gonna destroy a piece that has been made in a very limited quantity, versus for example this saber, where there's only maybe 2,000, 3,000, maybe 5,000 globally in the world on the market. That's it. And here these maybe have 10,000s of them on the market globally. So I'm like, I feel less inclined to be very careful with these kind of lightsabers from Saberforge. But then again, what I'm doing with the hobby, what is it where I'm aiming for, what I want to do? Just I want to have display pieces and look at them, or I also want pieces just play with them, and if they dinged up, they get dinged up. So I'm in that dilemma, and I decided for example for this Vader's Fold saber, that it's just gonna play with it. This is just my main saber. I'm just gonna play with it. If it gets scratched up, if it loses some of the chipping, start to chip off some of the anodizing, so be it. I live now. I need to enjoy my lightsabers now. Because maybe in 10 years I'm already not interested in lightsabers anymore, or something else, or maybe not around, or whatever the reason may be. So I'm like, I'm living now, and I'm just gonna enjoy it. Doesn't say, yeah, like for example, I have something on there, chocolates or something. Ew. That's what I mean. So I'm already like, ooh, there's something on it. Ooh. And that's kind of annoying, because I'm in, like, literally now I need to clean this. See, that's my problem. I'm like, I have something, and I'm like, I get nervous about it, and then I cannot fully enjoy the hobby and just play with this lightsaber and do whatever I want, because I feel like, ooh, it's so expensive, it's precious, which it is. But they also made for dueling, spinning, and whatnot. So I'm like, yeah, I should just play with it. So I'm asking you what you think about that. Are you sabers that you collect, is that a combination of sabers that are purely for usage, so you just play with them, and if they get beat up, they get beat up? Or is it like, no, I have strictly shelf queens, or to a certain price point they're shelf queens, and below that they're just stunt sabers for playing around? I wonder what you guys think about it. For me personally, I think I'm gonna step away from the fact of trying to collect these and make them collectible, and invest money in them, so they're becoming an investment in terms of collectability, and resell them in a few years. I don't know. One point in my body say, yes, do that, absolutely do that, because they will get worth money at some point. Not 10 years, maybe 20 years from now they will be worth some money, especially the models that are depreciated, no longer in the market, etc. But yeah, I don't know if I then really fully enjoy the hobby, or just I'm collecting stuff from the shelves, really expensive stuff on the shelves that I'm just looking at. I mean, a lot of people buy expensive watches, and then a lot of people wearing those expensive watches at the same time, because otherwise why would you just have these expensive watches in your vault and never wear? It can be an investment, of course, but I don't know. I don't know. I think it's in every hobby. There's that aspect where there's that thin line where you say, okay, am I just gonna collect them and put them on my shelves, or I'm gonna play with them as they're intended to be? Sometimes you will say, okay, this is a limited saber, so I'm not gonna play with this one because there's only 100 made or 200 made. So I actually did that for my solos hold, Blind Knight and Orphan, which is basically Ezra Bridgers and Kanan Jarrus lightsaber. So I bought one extra Kanan Jarrus lightsaber from Solos Hold, so I could outfit that with a Crystal Shard 9.0, with a Crystal Focus 9.0. Eugene is going to help me from So-Called Sabers. And then just play the snot out of it without feeling regret that I'm beating up a saber of which they're only made 500 or something, because I have another one in pristine condition, empty, for display. So it's a combination, but I do feel the moral struggle between, am I going to play and duel with this saber unconditionally, knowingly it costs over 500 bucks? Or am I just gonna put it in a shell, look at it, sometimes play a little bit in the house for a minute or 10, 15 till the battery is drained, recharge it again, and then play like maybe an hour or 2 hours a year with it? Because that is in my case with my Vader's World Hero. Is that worth spending $600-700 US on that? Probably not, to be honest. If you treat it like that. I don't think it's really worth that money, because you basically not utilizing the awesome soundboard, the LED, etc. And 90% of the time it's just having a drained battery on your shelf. So it's morally very difficult, and that's why I feel it's much easier with collecting these kind of lightsabers in the lower segment. If it's, let's say, up to $250 US. And you have to think about the lower spectrum of Vader Fold, lower spectrum Saber Forts, and Saber Trio, for example. Yeah, you just pick one up and you just play with it. But if it becomes more than $250-300 US, then I feel like, yeah, that's too much money for just messing around, getting it beat up, scratch up, etc. So I don't know if that's also going to change my perspective in collecting sabers that I collected are just very limited run sabers that are the collectibles, and these sabers I just keep them in, for example, stunt configurations. The cheaper the better, and then just play with them and then have a bunch of them on the shelves, but I can rotate between the play sabers and just play with them. I think that is my preferred way. That also says something about purchasing like this. To me, these sabers I will purchase because these are unique. They're not made a ton of them, and that will, for me, automatically categorize it as a collectible. But then again, I also just want to play with it because I can't buy this empty. So I have a whole bunch of electronics in there, which I paid a lot of money for that, and I just don't want to waste that experience. I just want to play. So this will be my play saber. But I couldn't bear in my heart to do the same with my Vader's Full Hero, although the price is very close to each other. So it's kind of interesting how that works for perspective from a person, and that's why I want to know from you guys what you think about it, how you approach it, and let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye bye.